Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Troilus and Cressida, and we get to hear from Ulysses again today in Act 3, Scene 3. Now, Ulysses is in the middle of a conversation with Achilles, because remember, Achilles' ego had gotten too big for himself, and to the point where he's not even going out and fighting wars anymore. He's just hanging out in his tent and doing mockery plays of all of the Greek higher-ups. So the Greek higher-ups want to knock him off of his high horse so that he'll stop doing those little, comedy shows, whatever you want to call them, that are making the soldiers not want to listen to the Greek commanders. So most recently, Ulysses had all of the Greek commanders, as they walk by Achilles, just basically ignore him or treat him with disdain. And Achilles took note, and he's like, what is going on? Like, has everybody forgotten everything that I've done for them recently? And Ulysses, in yesterday's monologue, was making the point that people are very much of the shiny variety, and people really only pay attention to the most recent things that people have done. So even though you might have been a great hero in the past, if you've been sitting around doing nothing while others are doing something, even if their something isn't as great as your something was, they're the ones that are going to get acknowledged and praised because it's the most recent thing that they can get excited about. And Achilles responded by saying, well, I have reasons to want to have some private time in my tent. And Ulysses is like, yeah, we know all about that. We know that you're in love with Priam's daughter. Like, it's known. And Achilles is like, what? It's known? And Ulysses says, is that a wonder? The Providence that's in a watchful state knows almost every grain of Pluto's gold, finds bottom in the uncomprehensive deeps, keeps place with thought, and, almost like the gods, do thoughts unveil in their dumb cradles. There is a mystery, with whom relation durst never meddle, in the soul of state, which hath an operation more divine than breath or pen can give expressure to. All the commerce that you have had with Troy, as perfectly is ours as yours, my lord. And better would it fit Achilles much to throw down Hector than Polyxena. But it must grieve young Pyrrhus now at home, when fame shall in her land sound her trump, and all the Greekish girls shall tripping sing, great Hector's sister did Achilles win, but our great Ajax bravely beat down him. Farewell, my lord. I, as your lover, speak. The fool slides o'er the ice that you should break. So what he's saying is, when you're this famous, you don't have privacy. You don't have the luxury of privacy. He's saying, this is a small camp, and the thing about people who are paying attention to other people is they tend to find everything out. So since you've been in front of everybody, since you have a name, people pay attention to what you're doing. So obviously, everything that you do is known by everyone. And we all know that it would be much better if you went out and fought Hector, but that's not where you are right now. So, you're just gonna have to deal with it when everybody's like, oh, Achilles got married, but age of war. So Patroclus takes this moment to chime in and is like, I kind of warned you about this, that your fame might fall a little bit and that might not be so great. And Achilles is like, so Ajax is gonna fight Hector? Patroclus is like, yeah. And he's like, and people don't really like me anymore? And Patroclus is like, it's kind of going that way. And Achilles decides that he's like, go get Thersites, because I'll send Thersites to Hector so they can come and have dinner with me, and we can sit and we can talk face to face, and won't that be awesome? And right as Patroclus is getting ready to go get Thersites comes in, and they're like, well, that's lucky, we didn't have to go get him. And Thersites is rambling on and on about Ajax, and they're like, what about Ajax? And he's just pacing up and down the field and saying his own name. And they're like, what? And Thersites is going to explain a little bit more about that in tomorrow's monologue. So I'll see you then. Mwah.